welcome back to part 5 of the Book One Cozies Club chapter by chapter for A Caterer's Guide to Love and Murder, the first book in the Caterer's Guide to Crime Mystery series by Jessica Thompson. I'm Di, and this is my audio-only reading vlog for this book. Today, I will be reading chapters 13 through 15 and sharing my thoughts with you along the way. Due to the nature of this reading vlog, there will be spoilers, so if you haven't read these chapters yet, I suggest that you not listen to this recording until you have. If you would prefer to hear my general thoughts on this book in its entirety, keep an eye out for my Book One Cozies Club Series First Impressions video, which will be posted sometime after the reading vlogs for this book have commenced. So how is everybody doing this evening? I am doing well. I was working on my sweater, the colorwork sweater that I had told you about yesterday. I was working on that tonight. I say tonight. I'm recording at 2:24 a.m., so technically it's last night, but I was working on it after work, and I got to the sleeve separation, so I'm chugging right along on that. I do still have one more color work chart to go on that sweater before I'm free and clear just to knit and knit and knit. Without have to worry about any charts and things like that. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with where I am with that. I'm actually being really monogamous on that project, which is unusual for me, but I find that with color work projects, it really grabs my attention and demands kind of my attention, just because it's like potato chips. You gotta knit one more row, to see all of the different patterns come out in your project is super fun and super cool, and I'm just having a lot of fun with it. Unfortunately, even if I do finish the sweater relatively soon, I'm not going to be able to utilize it until several months from now. We don't really get cold weather until about mid-December, I would say. So yeah, it's a bit of a wait until the weather will allow me to wear garments like that, but I don't have the fan on tonight. It is still warm, but it's manageable, I guess. So anyway, that's enough chit-chat for right now. I am looking forward to seeing what comes about in the next few chapters, and seeing what kinds of recipes we get introduced to. I'm kind of hoping we're not going to see so many exclamation points. I did get my mom to start reading this book as well, so that's been nice because I've been able to discuss with a person in real life about the book. Normally my mom doesn't read the Book One Cozies Club selections anywhere close to when I'm reading them, so it's kind of hard to discuss things with her, but she's actually reading it right now. When I talked to her today, she had gotten to not last night's section, but the section before, and she's not reading in sections, she's just reading through. So it's been nice to just kind of talk to her about what's happened in the story so far and the characters and things like that. But yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and dive into chapter 13 right now, and I will be back with you in a bit. So I just finished chapter 15. Again, right off the bat in chapter 13, there's lots of exclamation points again. I don't know if it's just because Violet is overexcited all the time, or if it has to do with her neuroses, as we've been told that she has a few times now in this book, but I feel like everybody is constantly yelling. There wasn't as many exclamation points in this section as there were, say, last night. But every time I read through a passage of dialogue, I feel like everybody's just yelling, and it's not too enjoyable for me, I have to be honest. And I don't know if I'm just picking up on it because it's something that's bothering me. I'm definitely not looking for it. It's just very noticeable for me. So, yeah. Some interesting things did happen in this section, though, especially with what has happened to Paul. I'm very curious to see if we can get more information out of him after he's been all patched up. Truthfully, I am a little bit surprised that the wedding has already happened. I fully expected that the killer reveal was going to be at the wedding at the end of the book, but we've already had the wedding now, and there's still 2 more sections, so that's 6 more chapters left in this book, and I'm a little bit surprised. Definitely wasn't expecting that, but now I'm wondering if the killer is going to try a couple other things before we get the reveal, because now not only has the killer gotten rid of the grandma, but they've also attacked Paul. Paul seems to know who it was. I have to say that I was cringing a little bit when Violet was looking for Trish. Her name ended up being Trish. But, yeah. The way that she approached that conversation, I get that she was, unprepared. She was kind of like one-track mind. I'm on this road. I've got this idea. It's got to be her. And then didn't plan out what she was going to say, but the conversation ended up being cringy. And then, she's asking Trish a personal question about if this is her first child, but then when Trish asks her if, she has any children, we don't get any of that dialogue. Like, she just signs off as quickly as she can by making an excuse, and I'm just like, come on now. Like, seriously, you can't expect that you ask people personal questions like that and not answer them when they ask you basically the same thing. Like, she didn't ask how many children she had. She asked if she had children. Like, there's definitely an overall theme in regards to what happened at the very beginning of this book, all the way through what we've read. There have been several mentions of it. I'm still really hoping that that whole thing will get kind of put in a place where it's more comfortable for her, so that this doesn't carry on into the next installment. I do feel like tonight's chapters were a bit shorter than the last couple nights' sections. I'm not sure if it's just because, several things happened in these chapters, or if they're actually shorter. That's one of the downsides of reading an electronic copy. I did mention in my announcement for this selection that I did receive a copy from the author, a digital copy from the author, as like a thank you for choosing her book as one of our selections. But because this was available on Kindle Unlimited, I went ahead and borrowed a copy from there as well, because I'm hoping that by doing that and reading that copy, that she gets some credit for it. So one of the downsides of reading a digital copy is you can't actually gauge how big the chapters are. So anyway, that was a long roundabout way of me saying that I feel like tonight's chapters went by faster, and I don't know if it's just because there were more things happening as far as like excitement with the wedding, and then the tip on Trish, and now with what has happened to Paul. Still curious to see how this is all going to unfurl itself. I'm still not sure who I like as far as a culprit. I feel like we've been thrown a lot of suspects in this book, which is rather interesting because I don't feel like in other books there have been this many suspects. At least not this many suspects that have been pointed out to us. And I kind of feel like because they've been pointed out to us, they're not really viable. But I don't know, that may be a writing device that the author is using. But in any case, I'm looking forward to seeing what happens in the next section, if we get to talk to Paul and get more information on who attacked him and things like that. So let me know down in the comments below if you have any suspects in mind. Do you feel like the suspects that we have been introduced to in this book are viable suspects, or are you dismissing them because they're too obvious since they have been pointed out? Also, let me know if you feel like these chapters went by a little faster than the last few nights. I'd really like to know if you kind of feel the same as me. Don't forget that you can also come talk to me in our Goodreads group or in our Discord, whichever you feel most comfortable talking to me on. And that will pretty much do it for my thoughts on these chapters tonight. I will be back with you for our second to the last section, chapters 16 through 18 tomorrow. So I hope you're all having a great evening, and I will talk to you later. Bye.